Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band came out in 1967 and it was met with high critical acclaim. It was one of the Beatles' highest points as a group. The thing is though, their enjoyment was rather short-lived, as only a few months after the release, their manager, Brian Epstein, unfortunately passed away. After his passing, a lot of responsibilities and questions now rested on the band members. They decided that they wanted to work on and finish their next project, which was the third Beatles film, Magical Mystery Tour. Once it was finished, the film did not meet the expectations of a lot of fans and critics alike. It was met with a lot of criticism, and some networks in the US refused to broadcast it. So, when the band began to work on their next album, they were coming into it after being at one of their lowest points now. Over their years together, the tension between the members of the band has been slowly growing. And it has been said in interviews by Paul and John that during the White Album, you could tell the band was going to break up. The tension was just always in the air. And in the studio, each member was kind of doing their own thing for the most part. You had people like their producer George Martin taking a leave of absence, their sound engineer Jeff Emmerich, who has been with the band since early on in their careers, just getting up and leaving, and the overall toxic environment was suffocating. And eventually, even Ringo had enough. After feeling his drum playing was inadequate for the group, and he felt like an outsider, Ringo went to John first at his house, and he told him that he was leaving for those reasons. John responded that he felt like it was the other three members that were close and that he was the outsider. So after hearing this, Ringo went to Paul's house and said the same thing. And Paul responded the exact same way as John. Paul believed he was the outsider. So after hearing this from Paul and John, Ringo didn't even decide to ask George, and that was kind of it. Ringo just didn't feel respected. He also felt like the band was hostile, and the magic was slowly fading away. There was also issues with constant criticism from people like Paul on his drum playing, and it really got to him. So at this point, he pretty much decided that he was done. He unofficially left the band and went on vacation with his family. This happened on August 22nd, 1968. Ringo's departure was felt by everybody at the time. Ringo was the type of person who always showed up early in the studio and waited for everybody else to show up. And now, he wasn't there at all. Since the band was in the middle of working on an album, they couldn't really just stop. So instead of communicating with Ringo, each member contributed their own drumming to songs like Dear Prudence and Back in the USSR. And it was only after 2 weeks that something had to change. During this time, the fact that Ringo left the band was a big secret. Anybody who knew had to keep it quiet. And the 2 weeks of being without him really started to be an issue. The band kept playing without Ringo, but it never really sat right with them. So, Ringo received a telegram from his friends saying, "You're the best rock and roll drummer in the world. Come on home. We love you." Hearing this telegram, and also having a few weeks away from the drama, Ringo went back to Abbey Road, and he found his drum kit completely covered in flowers by George Harrison. Leaving the band wasn't easy for him, but after seeing that the other members did care for him, he started to feel good about himself again. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.